Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome back from the Humble and Fred four-banger. There's Fred. I'm Howard. Just checking in. There's Fred.
Hello.
Yeah. I'm Howard. and that's Dan.
And I'm Dan.
I was taken off guard by the four-banger. We used to call holidays four-bangers.
Yeah, but for the last month, we've been working 4 days a four-banger as well. I know.
Oh, it's hard for me to keep up
No,
with
I know.
all this.
Listen, you're technically right in a Humble and Fred dictionary. A four-banger is usually connotates a holiday, right?
Yeah, because when you said that last week, I was going to call you on it, and I thought, he's just made a mistake there. But not that it matters. It doesn't.
But
matters?
It's a good call.
What matters?
It's a good call. You were right to call that. And for the last 4 weeks in a row, now the fifth week, I have co-opted our own phrase for a holiday and made it a four-banger to describe how many shows we're doing. Okay.
So in the olden days, when the four, like if you took a whole week off, would that be a five-banger? Or
Yeah, it would be a five-banger.
And now it's like
nine-banger.
we were taking four bangers. Now we're taking three bangers. But Howard has flipped it over, which is fine.
Right. Well,
I'll sign up. It's fine.
All right. The nice thing about this conversation is this
it's useless.
I was just going to say, considering what other men in their 60s are thinking about right now.
Right. People.
This is what's keeping us young. This
show
is what's
highlights,
keeping us.
when you're deciding whether to listen to a show or not. Then the four-banger discussion.
We just came off a three-banger, which is 3 days off, and we're about to develop into a four-banger week. But before we do, Dan,
yes,
and not to pile on, but this came to us just a couple days ago. It's an email. And if you will indulge me, I will begin with this email.
All right.
Hi, guys.
Subject line, is Dan Duran a narcissist or just a...
Oh, no way.
Is
really?
Dan Duran a narcissist or just a blockhead?
Okay.
This gentleman says, greetings, gentlemen. But of course he means hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Just so I have this correct, I have earned the honor of having the Humble and Fred studio named after me for the coming week, but Dan can't/won't extend the courtesy of saying my name. Why is he and he continues, why is he making this about him? Perhaps he should be more concerned with not putting shithouses on other people's property without their permission and honor someone else's achievement that has nothing to do with him. Signed, he signs off, good grief, Mike Coxpig.
Got it.
All I'm saying, Dan, is, this person has earned the Zoom rights, the fair and square, the Zoom theater rights, and maybe today you could just get over your puritanical, what if God was watching over us, and just say the guy's name.
All right. Okay, I'll give it a shot. I'll see what I can do.
Any thoughts over there, Freddie?
I know the son of a preacher man would, hesitate in such situations. I understand that. But then I think, he breaks so many other rules, including a huge golden rule. So why is this different?
Okay. For you people who are paying attention, that's a little foreshadowing. Mm-hmm. Okay, well then let's begin the show and see if we can't bring people together.
This episode of the legendary Humble and Fred Show is being broadcast to the world from the state-of-the-art Humble and Fred studio in Toronto, from our Brampton facility featuring fall leaves on lush green grass, and from Peterborough from Lisa's dining room table next to trendy black sticks in a vase. I'm Dan Duran, broadcasting live from the Mike Oxbig Zoom Theater. And brought to you by the Retirement Sherpa, the Chambers Plan, Bodog, our newest sponsor, Ridley Funeral Home, and Kelsey's Original Roadhouse. And now, here are two men who watched the team wearing light blue beat the team in dark blue to win the Grey Cup. It's Humble and Fred.
No. You just can't say it the way That's fine. Listen, you know what? I know you see
left too much of a space is what
you know what he's doing? It's a reverse. It's like he's doing a bit inside of a bit. You know, the thing is, we've been around long enough. We've seen it all before. It's a
double shot power.
Reverse the bit inside the bit.
Yeah.
I believe he pronounces it Mike Coxpig. It's just it flows down.
Right.
But you're not having any of that.
That's right. Well, his real name is that, right?
That's neither here nor there.
Okay.
Just carry on for a second. I gotta send our producer a note. I'm just short of something here.
Carrying on then.
Short of what?
Oh, just a bit of information. That's all.
Oh.
Did you watch the Grey Cup game last night? I totally forgot it was on. Or actually, I didn't even know it was on.
Yeah, how times have changed. Yes, of course I watched it. My Argos. When I was a kid, my Argos, they were my favorite Toronto team. There were only two, Leafs and Argos, but Argos were my favorite. When I was a teenager, going to the games, had season tickets. When I had season tickets, it cost $2 a seat to sit in the end zone. And I went to every Argo home game. I love them. So,
is that the best seat to watch a game at in the end zone?
No, it sucked, but I was a kid. That's all I could afford. I was just in the environment. That's all I cared about.
Right.
And the Argonauts were a big deal. They had expanded exhibition stadium, 55,000 fans every game at Argo games. It was magical. And then along came the NFL office pool, and it ruined and wrecked everything in Toronto for the CFL.
Saskatchewan, where I grew up, we were huge CFL fans in my household. My dad and my mother cheered for different teams. My dad supported his Regina Rough Riders, and my mother was a Blue Bombers fan, so she would have been excited. The Blue Bombers have been in the Grey Cup for 6 straight years. 5 straight years.
And have lost 3 in a row. They won the first 2, then have lost the last 3. 2 of them to the Argonauts.
How many times?
Something?
I was going to say that there was an interesting stat I heard about how many times the Argonauts have been in the Grey Cup.
Here's an interesting, un-Toronto statistic.
Okay.
Since 1983, the Toronto Argonauts have been in 10 Grey Cups.
Yeah.
They've won 9, including 8 in a row now.
Yeah.
See, in Toronto, we're not used to that kind of thing. And isn't it ironic, or whatever the word is, that our most successful team is our least popular team?
Well, yeah, it's the one that people are least interested in. But it is interesting.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. It is interesting, and I'm just going to come clean because it's real talk. I didn't watch 1 second of it because I don't care, and I was watching the. I don't. Listen, I'm not going to pretend I do.
Yeah,
I don't care, and I watched I watched every second of Kansas City and the Bills. Yes, I did.
Yeah, if you could have all the eyes fixed on the Grey Cup last night and, take an inventory or an analysis, I would love to know what that demographic was. Because I know 20
I imagine it would be older, right?
Oh, very, very much. Because I don't imagine 20 or 30 something. Although the halftime show was the Jonas Brothers. I don't know how they arrived at that. Maybe it was some attempt to get a younger audience, but isn't that a boy band that's become like an old man band or something like that?
I think it's a middle-aged band now is what they are.
Well, Fred, to your point, yesterday, Lisa was supposed to go to take her parents, who are 80 and 85, to some sort of concert or something last night. But then
your dad
peer
group.
Was that or what? His peer group?
His peer group. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Dan,
her
some
dad
people,
remembered.
Some people Dan went to school with. Yes.
Yeah. And then her dad realized that the Grey Cup was on, so they canceled going to the concert thing and stayed at home for that.
Well, I can tell you, my father, the late Lou Glassman, would be. Not only would he be watching the Grey Cup, as one of my brothers, Steve in Edmonton, Steve was texting me during it, asking me, and I kept saying, I just kept telling him what the Bills score was. But my dad would have been watching it, but more importantly, would have been horrified that I wasn't. And, it wasn't that long ago that I stopped watching it. It was one of those things where I would watch it. Up till a few years ago, I definitely would watch it just to be part of the spectacle. But at some point, then that wore off for me.
As you've lived most of your life now in Toronto, have you not? Is that the math or not?
Oh, by far, 35 years I've lived here.
Yeah. So I would just think because the Argonauts were in it that you would watch it. But, you're not a real Torontonian, I guess.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. I got no problem with that. I'm not. I have. Listen, I've tried to get behind the whole Toronto sports team. Raptors and the Leafs.
I get it.
Ugh.
They owe you nothing. They owe you nothing.
I go to the odd Blue Jay game, and had I not become or re-engaged with. Buffalo Bill football, I probably would have watched some of it last night. Did you watch any of the Bills game?
All of it, yep.
Okay.
And then I was split screen for the end of the Bills and the beginning of the Grey Cup. So it was fun. I could just, when something was happening, just zoom in on that game. It was cool.
You're using your picture-in-picture feature?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. It worked well. And
I love how Dan's always surprised when one of us can use the most rudimentary of technologies. It's like if I'm on the phone and I put somebody on hold with Dan, he's like, "Hey, you used your on hold feature." Yeah.
Exactly. Was the Grey Cup here in Ontario? Because there's way more stuff going on in Toronto than there was out west. But I remember that when the Edmonton Eskimos were the Edmonton Eskimos, it would like Grey Cup weekend. If they were playing, that would have been as big as the Super Bowl parties. Because I remember going to Grey Cup parties that were tons and tons of people, and it was a big, huge deal. And it was what we're going to eat and planning, and just like the Super Bowl is now. That was here too. Mm-hmm. Okay.
No, but the game was in Vancouver.
Yeah,
it wasn't in Toronto. It was in Vancouver. Hello.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
No, I knew that. I'm talking about in the 70s or whenever that, I remember all those parties.
Same thing.
Yeah.
In fact, back in the 70s, they had it like in Toronto every other year because it was so huge. Recent times, they bring it here the odd time. I think it was 2018. I think they had it BMO, whatever it was. But they're reluctant now. They like next year's Winnipeg. It will be massive, huge. Vancouver would sort of be somewhere in between Toronto and like Winnipeg or Saskatchewan, where it's the main focus. Everybody loves it. Everybody's into it. But yeah, I mean, they're very strategic where they place it now for that very reason. The interest, obviously.
Well, when the Dome opened up in 89, I don't recall if BC Place, which is what it was called at the time, was already in existence.
Yes, Howard.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah.
So wasn't there a while there after the Dome opened up where there was some talk about only having the Grey Cup in those locations where you could control the climate?
I don't recall, but I could see that conversation. But again, it gets back to what the CFL and Canadian Football is all about, because some of the most fun Grey Cups have been in snowstorms.
Absolutely, right? the most of the classic ones with Ottawa back in the 60s and such. But what happened, and again, I know they move it around based on interest and of course community support. But what's happened too, like yesterday here in Toronto, it was 11 degrees. I don't know what it was on the prairies, but we have a lot of places haven't had snow yet. It used to be like you wouldn't want to have it. You wouldn't want to have it in Winnipeg in November, but now it's not that big a deal.
Yeah. No, and, I guess it'll be a crapshoot with Winnipeg next fall. It, could either be 10 degrees or minus 10, right? Who knows? You talk about BC Place and its age. 1983, when the Argonauts ended, I think, a 32-year drought of not winning the Grey Cup. I was a sportscaster for CFNY, exclusively sports, working with Pete and Geets, and they sent me out to Vancouver for the Grey Cup, and it was in that building. And it was a thrill of a lifetime for me because I was there on site when the Argonauts broke that drought and won the 83 Grey Cup. And
that's very cool.
Ted Wallishin and I were sitting in the press box together, and we got in trouble for cheering. You're
right,
not
I know
supposed
that
to do
story.
that in the press box?
You're not supposed to get. I know that story. You're not supposed to get excited. Where were you and I? Why? I shouldn't say. I know where we were. We were in Winnipeg. Was it Winnipeg for a Blue Jays victory or Winnipeg?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's what it was.
92.
Yeah,
32 years ago, Howie.
There's no doubt. Oh wait, I've got a little where were you time question coming up for you in a second. The year after my dad died, which was 2006, it might have even been the year that he died, that fall, because he died in October. The Grey Cup would have been in November, and for some reason I have this memory of the Riders had not won it for a few years, but won it that fall. And I remember thinking, well, that would have been, it would have been good for my dad. Or at the same time, why couldn't he have hung on one more month to see the Riders? Anyway, the CFL, yes, was a big part of growing up for me. And even when we got here, and McNall and Gretzky and John Candy, it brought some excitement to that team in the early 90s. It was one of the biggest sports stories around. But
I really don't understand it in Toronto, with the population base we have. BMO for football can hold about 25,000. I still don't understand how there isn't 25,000 people in this huge city that would go to those games. Because when you go, they just fill the lower bowl and then the one side of the upper deck. I think it's the east side. The upper deck is they don't even sell it, which seems sad. And another part of this, which I find a bit disheartening, discouraging, whatever. They're going to have a parade now. Is anybody going to come to the parade? That can be embarrassing as well.
Maybe they could combine it with another parade.
Maybe
parade.
With the Santa Claus.
That's right. I was just thinking they kind of combine it with the Santa Claus parade. Make sure we get a good turnout.
And one other thing, why sports can be so neat sometimes. A week ago, I'm sitting here talking about the Argonauts going to the Grey Cup, but their quarterback, Chad Kelly, broke his leg or his ankle, whatever. So a backup quarterback would be used in the Grey Cup. They were heavy underdogs against Winnipeg. Prospects didn't look good. And lo and behold, that quarterback, Nick Arbuckle, who I think didn't even start. The season started, he wasn't even playing football. Again, another one of those stories. The Argos signed him a couple of weeks ago. He not only plays well, is named the game MVP. So just a neat sports story.
I love that. That's a great story. Now, as game MVP, they usually get like a truck or something.
I don't know on the CFL.
No, that's what I think. That's the last time I remember somebody got named MVP of the Grey Cup, and they were no.
I think
they got to lease a truck. No, they got the
rent a truck for the weekend because they can't afford it anymore.
Maybe it's just a 4-wheeler or a golf cart.
Yeah, they weren't given the truck; they were just loaned the truck till the buddy for a few weeks.
Or the Canadian, they gave them a mattress and not the box.
Yeah, the MVP of the game gets the use of a truck until the owner needs it back when he comes back from vacation.
And before we leave football, how about those Buffalo Bills / Toronto Maple Leafs? Don't you love them? They're such world beaters in the regular season. They can beat those Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season anytime you want to play them.
Okay, first of all, don't start pushing the Bills like the Leafs theory because
they are.
Well, they think about who they keep coming up against. The best team in football It's unfortunate that if they were in any other division, do you see what the other division records look like? Like some of the other, the Bills at 9-2 would be far away the best team in every other division, I think. I mean, I may have got that.
Oh, then Kansas City. Yeah, I get it. Yep.
Yeah, without having Kansas City to contend with. It would be like I get, listen, if the Leafs had great regular seasons and just, came up against the Stanley Cup winner every year in the playoffs, which they haven't.
Right. The structure. My point is the Bills have to get over that hump. That's all.
Yeah.
I draw that comparison only. And the way the NFL is, I mean, you don't play as many, not as many rounds, not as many games, and the way it's structured, they're going to have to get over that hump. But the problem is, there's still a game behind Kansas City, so you don't want that game to be in Kansas City. But, they became very close to losing to Denver last week, the
Chiefs. Yeah.
So, anyway, it shows you anything can happen. It's going to be fun down the stretch, that's for sure. And how about those Detroit Lions?
I was thinking about you. Yeah, you...
Oh, man, I have this fantasy where I wake up on Super Bowl morning and it's the Lions against the Bills. Could you imagine? Jesus. Wow.
Let me get back to the Bills and how much... Again, if you're offended I didn't watch the Grey Cup, get over it, because I just wasn't interested in it. And I was very interested in that game. Now, there was a point in the weekend, I thought the Bills-Chiefs game was the 1 o'clock game on Sunday, and part of me was like, oh, okay, then maybe later I'll check in on the Grey Cup. But when I found out that it was a 4:25, 4:30 start, I was like, okay, well, I'm watching this till the end, and then I'll see how I feel. And it was a great game. And, two of my favorite teams, and obviously two of my favorite quarterbacks. And I have a question. They played great. It was a fun game to watch. But what did they mean at the end when they say, well, now Bills will have home field advantage? Already, the mathematics give them some kind of... I didn't get that.
I think like last year, and don't hold me to that, I can't remember. I'm 68. If the Bills and Chiefs end up tied at the regular with the same record,
okay,
the Bills would get the nod because of the head-to-head matchup in the regular season.
All right.
So, Fred, do you prefer the Detroit team over the Buffalo team?
I'm sorry?
You prefer Detroit over Buffalo?
No. If the Bills and Detroit played in the Super Bowl, I would want the Bills to win.
Oh,
but
okay,
if the Lions did, it wouldn't bother me. It would be like, oh, that's cool for Detroit, because neither one of them has ever won a Super Bowl. And Detroit has just had such a long and miserable history. To see what they're doing, it's just so good for the city, and they're a fun team to watch, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, well, there's some miserable history. Dan, if I may speak to this subject, or... Dan's
miserable history.
Bills have had... they had a pretty miserable time there for 4 years. 4 years in a row they went to the Super Bowl. 4 chances. I don't know that anyone's ever done that and lost every single time. No. 4 trips, 4 years in a row where they were, you want to talk about the Leafs, where they were the best team in the regular season, got to the playoffs, won every game, lost every Super Bowl. To see them finally win a Super Bowl would be pretty cool.
The thing about that, Howard, that's buffered by the fact that they got there. Those were a lot of fun winning years. Disappointment on the last day of the season, which is, paramount. But Detroit, hasn't even had a sniff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I was here when in those Jim Kelly years where he was, all those rivalries. All of that aside, I just find it entertaining to watch, and that was an entertaining game yesterday. And
if I'm a Bills fan, which I am, I'm concerned about the Detroit Lions because they're obviously the class of the National Football Conference. So their path to the Super Bowl seems pretty clear at this point. But
Well, the problem with the Bills is they've got to get by Kansas City again.
Well, they got to get by Kansas City, and if they do get to the Super Bowl, I don't know if anybody can beat Detroit.
Well, we'll see. I hope we get a chance to see. All right, gentlemen, it's time to move on. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this theme. It's the Law and Order theme. The story you're about to hear is true. The participants' names have not been changed. the people involved.
That's an older TV series you're talking about now.
I mean, I could. Listen, as I've decided to appoint myself as judge and jury in this conflict. I will try and be impartial. Actually, the names of the participants have been changed. One of the people is Fran DeRue. And the other one is Ted Fatterson.
Okay.
Now, if you weren't with us for our four-banger last week, you may be... If you didn't hear any show last week, the bottom line is just this. I will present the facts, and then you both can make a statement, and then we have some updates. So we found out a week ago that Dan had, because it's a shoulder pass, you get to stay there at the trailer through the winter. They bring in a porta potty. Fred thought it was an outhouse, but it's just your standard construction site, rent a toilet porta potty structure. We've all seen them. That's what they look like. And Dan thought it would be a great idea to park the porta potty in Fred's driveway because he doesn't have to look at it, and there's it's shielded by a shed. When Fred found this out, there was some consternation. So, have I presented the facts pretty much as we've come to understand them?
Oh, perfectly. Very, very, very well done. Yes.
I'm like, this is like, I'm like Jack Smith.
Yeah, you pretty much capitalized.
I'd be like Jack Off Smith.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's where we left it all, and we had lots of fun, some rancor, some back and forth, some curt feelings, some curt conversations, and the whole week played out. And then, Fred, if you want to pick up what you wrote a note, you sent Dan a note.
Yes, Howard, I did. Let me just call it up here.
By the way, Dan, I've sworn you in already. You're already sworn in.
I'm sworn in. Okay.
Sworn in. The testimony you're about to give is the truth.
Right. Okay.
So,
fine. Yeah.
Delise and I discussed this, and the fact when it came to our attention that it would be somewhat communal, we thought, okay, that's enough. Like, seriously, move it off our site. And people may think, oh, you're a little too sensitive. What's the big deal? But you got to look at the big picture. The big deal is, why on my site, not his? Number one. That's the first thing that came to our mind. So if someone is going to have a shoulder pass and be in the park all winter long, or, most of the winter, or whatever it is, the shoulder pass encompasses, and they wanted to have a shitter, why wouldn't that person sort of keep it within their own little world and not make it somebody else's, not problem, but whatever you want to call it, make it part of my world all of a sudden. So anyway, it was all fun and everything, and I, until we found out it was communal, and I sent this to Dan. I said, Dan...
But, excuse me, by the way, when you say communal, you were actually almost okay if it was just going to be Dan's shits and things?
No, because it was the principle.
No, I know that. But when you found out that it was not only going to be used by Dan and friends, but it can be used by anybody walking up and down the...
Yeah,
anybody can use any of the porta potties along the road.
Yeah, great. Super.
Willy-nilly.
So he sticks it at my place. Anyway... I said, Dan, it was a fun week of banter and fun and many laughs, and hopefully it will continue with the next chapter. The next chapter being, we want the shitter moved off our site. No kidding. We're really not big on having a communal bathroom on our site when we weren't consulted because we would not have approved it. Let's just nip it in the bud before it becomes a bigger issue, which it could, considering how they do stuff up there. Meaning, it could be full of shit and piss in the spring. Some kid comes up to move it, knocks it over, whatever. I don't even want to go there. I don't want to have to think about it between now and May. Last year, you asked to put your stuff on our site, and we readily agreed because we wanted to help you out with the installation of your new trailer. This is a lot different. Put it in your driveway or down in the parking area. Call me if you want. So I left that message Saturday morning or Friday morning, whenever it was, and I never heard from Dan at all. He never called me. He never responded to the text, whatever. So then my wheels start moving, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, he's up to something. He's either going to move it and send me pictures, or he's going to ignore it, or he's pissed off and doesn't think he should have to move it, or whatever. And then Howard, you take over.
Well,
I don't have what you have.
I received a phone call from Dan as what is that? Judge Advocate General as JAG. And Dan said, I'm going to be sending you some pictures and some movies, and we can post them on Monday morning while we have this conversation. So if you go to our Facebook page, Humble and Fred Radio, below the live stream, what you'll see is 3 different panels. The first panel, if I may direct your attention, is the picture of the porta potty tucked away in Fred's driveway, right sort of backing against the trailer, the back of the trailer. Probably, I'm guessing that's kind of in between a bedroom and the bathroom.
Yeah, at the back there, yeah.
And that was where it was. Dan, then, if you go to the next panel, what Dan's done...
I really don't understand the problem.
...is a movie of the trailer... I'm sorry, the porta potty lit up like a Christmas tree.
Johnny on the spot. A little bit of an...
Here's a little narration.
But, in the middle of the night, you got to get up and go. This is quite the place to go.
I mean, these lights are moving. It's like Las Vegas.
Okay, let's check it out inside. Say we're going in. What do we got here? Look at that. That's quite something for a crapper.
The lights are inside and also very, very festive, Dan.
Yes, that was a Thursday night before I got the email.
Were you drunk?
Text.
Oh, that was before you got the email.
Yeah, before I got the text, yeah.
So you thought, I know what Fred would like. He wouldn't mind if it was behind his trailer.
I just thought it was lit up, lighting it up
in a festive, yeah, very, very
festive way, yeah.
You know what? That might have been the end of it for a lot of people. But then on Friday, you received the note.
Yes.
And the next one, the next panel that you'll see on our Facebook page is a time-lapse movie of Dan readying his site and moving leaves and cleaning things up in your driveway, right?
Yep.
And, I don't know much about the trailer world, but at some point you take the porta potty, which seemed pretty easy to move.
Well, really, it wasn't super heavy. I mean, I couldn't lift it, but I could angle it back and forth.
And then you got it. And
moved it into...
At this point, I think we all have the facts, and if you want to see a fun little, some bits, go check out our Facebook page. But I'm just going to... I don't know where to start. So, when you decided to move the porta potty, what was the criterion for where you were going to move it to?
I was going to move it to the back far enough so I could back my car back into my driveway. And because where at the top of the driveway, I wouldn't be able to park, and also wouldn't be able to install a porta potty because the grade is too steep to hold without building a deck or something like that. It would just fall over. So I'd have to level it, but it would be so high off the back end or whatever side. It seemed like an odd place. So it all seemed to go together. I'd back it up so I could park my car in and behind the car. That's where the...
I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Patterson in a moment. Okay. My question is, it was in the back of Fred's trailer, and I don't know the terrain as well as you guys, but is there not room at the back of your trailer?
The back of my trailer, there's no room back there.
Bullshit. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, hang on a second. Hang on a second, fellas. You mean like where I parked when I came to visit? Wasn't that the back of your trailer? Mm-hmm. Back of Dan's trailer? I seem to recall. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I was further down.
With the old trailer, you could park right next to the trailer, and I could have put the porta potty there. But now the distance between the road and the trailer is quite narrow, and the grade is very steep. It goes down against the.
Okay.
So it just wouldn't be. Plus, they plow the road all winter, and the plow row goes on the side of the road where the trailers are.
I see.
As opposed to the hill.
See. Well, Dan. First of all, great job, great movies, lots of entertainment. I'm going to turn the questioning now over to Fred Patterson, who may have some questions about where you've placed the porta potty. Gentlemen?
Okay. All right.
Well, my first question is, you're kidding, aren't you?
About what?
Where you put it?
Didn't even occur to what?
No, it wouldn't occur to you, and that doesn't surprise me either.
Okay.
Look where you put the... So now it's right against my trailer.
Well, there's at least 8 inches.
Right at my bedroom window. And part of the issue was if there was any leaching or it leaked or when one of the kids came to get it and it was full and knocked it over or punctured it or did something where shit would come out, I didn't want to have to deal with it. So now you have it right against the back of my trailer. Again, to your convenience. Move the fucking thing is my point. See where you're standing right now, Dan, in the the little movie you made?
Yeah.
Which is sweet. I wish I could enjoy it more, but I can't. Okay. See where you're standing at the very last frame?
Yeah.
Put it there.
That's on the road. That's too close to where the plow row comes. That's like right on the road there.
No, the last frame of this thing, he's by the lake.
No, Dan, because it's right beside the bush. Where the hydro stuff is, it would fit right there.
Okay, well, I'll look and see if that's a better spot. It didn't. None of this occurred. I thought it was just.
Okay. I'm going to ask you the question again. You're kidding, aren't you?
No, I didn't. I thought the whole thing was on your property and then being, the driveway. And if it spilled onto your driveway, it would be a problem. If it spilled now, it would be on my driveway. And if it wasn't, but it wouldn't be spilling because the sanitation engineer comes in and sucks all the shit out first, and then they, then we'll, have the tractor remove the outhouse.
Listen, I don't know anything about anything. All I know is there's an outhouse right under your bedroom window.
Yeah, right against my trailer.
No. Oh, I see the
last
I see the last frame. Well, that where Dan is in the last frame.
Yeah.
Where he's standing quite proudly in his that's what I would ask. Why not there?
Or why not in that flat area in front of your fireplace? You can move it easily. Dan, could you just not make it part of my world, please? Thank you.
All right. So what's clearance?
Could you do that?
What's the?
Could you do that, please?
How about on no part of the property, no part of the porta potty should be anywhere near his trailer. I think.
Okay. So what's near then? What's the clearance area then? Just so I know. 3 feet, 5 feet, 10 feet? What's the...
Well, if it was 3, there's nothing I could say to it. I wouldn't be thrilled with it, but, there's nothing I can say. But you've literally got it against my trailer. You've got to be kidding.
Okay, I just want to know what the clearance is, and then I'll make sure that I have clearance on it. So you think 3, 4 feet, 4 feet?
Sure, Dan, because you move it over 3 or 4 feet, I got nothing to say with it. It's on your spot. But I got a feeling that you won't put it there because now it will start to inconvenience you, so that, all the rules will change. Why don't you take the thing and put it somewhere where it's not infringing on anyone? It's your shitter. It's your shoulder pass. It's your world. It's not mine.
Okay. Well, all right. Last year it was on Jen and Daryl's site, right?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Put it back on Jen and Daryl. Put it back on Jen and Daryl's site.
Mm-hmm.
I just
Did they even know?
I don't think so.
I just hope this isn't going to impact your friendship.
I don't know. I never talked to.
I hope that we can one day get by
Howard.
This.
He said it was on Jen and Daryl's site. I said, they know. He says, I don't think so. Isn't that great? So people go up there and they want to enjoy the winter season, right? But they make the convenience of the shitter somebody else's sort of...
Oh, yeah.
I don't even want to say problem or a potential issue.
They drop the shitters anywhere. Nobody's asking anybody permission to where they put the sit. I put my thumb on the scale a little bit this year just because I don't even think there's anybody down for the thinking about it all the way, to the rest of the park from where I am, just based on where they put the other shitter. And I just said, hey, listen, if you got an extra one, just a little closer to me would be great. And I did sort of say, well, the Fred area here, but it didn't occur to me because all the shitters are randomly put all the way down the road. Now, I apologize that I didn't ask. It didn't occur to me to ask, but I've obviously struck some sort of but
this is day 5 of this.
This is not had I not brought it up. You probably wouldn't even know that it was there and gone. I mean, you didn't know Jen and Daryl's had it last year.
Well, because he doesn't live at Jen and Daryl's.
I don't care about Jen and Daryl's. That's
they're right next door to Fred. So.
This is a comment. Somebody on Facebook says, this is like the hip doc when I found out the guy's scrapped once in a while. I don't think they ever fought over a shitter, though.
Honestly, and I'm not, if I was in that situation and it involved a shitter where people shit and piss and it's held in a compartment, I wouldn't for 1 second dream of making it part of somebody else's situation or site. It wouldn't even enter my mind. I wouldn't ask because I wouldn't even do it. Seriously. Like if I was up at the shoulder pads and they come up and I ask, can you put the shitter closer to me, please? And then say, oh yeah, I just put it over by Dan. It wouldn't even enter my mind.
Here's a comment from Tanya Hutton, who, as we all know, wears the T-shirt "Too Fat for Dan Duran" T-shirt.
Yeah, excellent.
Tanya says,
real player.
She says, Dan is 100. The sphincter doesn't hold like it used to. Here's another comment.
That's true.
That's true. Very true, Tanya.
You need to dash the
Gunnar Smith says, your shitter, your world. This is a segment for Fred in the future. Ha, 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 ha. Fred gripes about people that are pissing him off. Well, that's a lot of days. We already have a show like that. It's called the Humble and Fred Show. Tanya also says there's more teeth in this fight than the Tyson fight, which we should talk about too.
Oh yeah, what a debacle! Man.
Well, yeah, but I'm listen. I don't want to curb your enthusiasm, boys. Will this ever be worked out? Hopefully, we can put this. I don't know, this chapter in our friendship behind us. Because I'm in the middle. I'm caught in the middle because I love both you guys.
I'm going up there today, so
I love both you guys, but I see the point that Fred's making. I understand that Dan's an innocent meadow squirrel that wants only just doesn't know, he doesn't want to hurt anybody.
See,
and the rest of us are caught in the middle.
What about that little shed there? You could have pushed it back into the corner there or something, but honestly, I would think just away from number one, my trailer.
3 feet my guidance is 3 feet, so I'll make sure that it's at least 3 feet away from the.
If I were you, dude, if I were you, I would put it somewhere where.
No, listen, I can't say anything. If he moves at 3 feet, that's his. Now it's out of my world. I don't understand why exactly he would want it when I see the size of it and, how narrow the driveway is and all that. I don't know why you just wouldn't move it. Even, Dan, the traffic there is so... Oh, well, your problem is the plow, but other years they've plowed around them, so I don't know why this would be any different.
Well, further down the road, where we are in this zone, further down the road, they put it on the other side. But this, where we are, it's so narrow that for whatever reason they plow.
Well, why don't you do what you did last year? Put it on the other, put it on the other neighbor's plot or whatever.
Well, I didn't put it there last year.
That's the
and I was
prime
hardly
spot.
up there last year.
All right, well,
anyway.
Now put it down in that parking lot, but where the overflow parking is. Why not down there?
There is one down there. That's where they put it, but it takes about 90 seconds to get down there.
And it's cold in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Listen, I just hope that, and again, as I brought up this malady last week, I mean, if you get this is gonna constipate you because you won't be able to feel free.
No, I know.
Knowing that you're this close to the Patterson family.
And I want to encourage everyone to go to our Facebook page and have a look at this. And again, think to yourself, he's kidding, isn't he? Where it was and where he put it. Tell me how that's any different with considering the concerns I had. Like, it's just bizarre. And then you're standing there all proud like you've done some great deed.
I thought I was solving the problem, but I obviously wasn't.
Like, wait till I show
you know what? There's just so you know, if any, it's doubtful that any effluent would fall on the ground.
Oh,
I don't want to take that chance.
You don't know.
I don't want to take that chance.
Okay.
Tanya has another thing that I had thought of this, and it also makes sense, which is, why don't you put it, up against your trailer in the driveway and then just park in Fred and Dahl's driveway? They wouldn't mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how about that, Dan? Hey, that's I told you could park in my place all you want. Take the shitter, put it against the wall of your trailer. How about that? How about that, Dan?
Well,
and then just park where the trailer, park in the driveway where the trailer was.
He'll consider it. So why would you just consider it?
Well, just because the plow row, when it comes through, that means...
No. See where the window is on the back of your trailer? See where the window is at the back of my trailer? You've got the shitter there. See where the window is in the back of your trailer? Put the shitter there. How about that? And it's still the same measurements. You'd still be able to park closer to my trailer, even if you wanted to park behind. Well, how's it any different, Dad?
Because it has to be behind my car. And then that's where the steps are.
Well, no, you park your car where the shitter was.
Next to my deck, yeah.
Guys?
Be next to my deck, yeah.
But here, I'm going to be a very good guy. Dan, use my parking all you want. Put the shitter against your trailer like it's against mine now and use my parking. Or is that too far to walk to your car?
No, it's not. It was more about winter access. But anyway, you know what? I'll go up there today and I'll see what I can do to
I didn't understand that last part. What do you mean winter access? I didn't understand.
Well, there's a plow row. When a plow goes through,
no, but it's not plowing
right?
where you
They're
were.
not going to plow your driveway.
No, but wherever I park the car, I'm going to have to shovel the plow row away, right?
Yeah.
So, like the where you park is lengthwise, so it's going to be. I'm going to have to do more.
2 more feet. You're going to have to shovel like 2 more feet. The length of a car rather than the width of a car. That's what you're going to have to do.
Okay. Well, listeners, I know this has gone on for 5 days now, and we have a new wrinkle. I hate to cut you guys off, but...
All right, to be continued. I will take care of this today when I'm up there.
You know what I hope? I hope that we can get past this in our friendship.
Because you know what I was going to do this weekend? I was going to pick my son up. We were going to drive up, and I was going to put the shitter where I think the shitter should go. That's what I was going to do. But now I guess I don't have to. So again, to me, was it Tanya you said that had that
Tanya
solution?
Hutton, yes.
Tanya, it's just perfect. It's just almost laughable. Look at each end of the trailers. Each end of the trailer is exactly the same. You choose to ram it right up against mine when it could easily be in the same position at your trailer. Easily.
Tanya just weighed in again, and she said, hearken, again, Howard's word of the week. She says, hearken, back to the days of your youth, Dan. Dig a hole and shit in it.
Actually, that's not too far from the truth.
Richard Bullock says this show should go in a time capsule. Oh, it's just the rage. Forget anything we've ever done. The shitter.
Right. Well,
here's
tomorrow. We'll find out where.
Listen. Okay. Here's a comment against Fred, though. Someone says Fred is getting very annoying at this point. Move on. Says Willie. I don't even know how to pronounce the last name.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so moving on.
Nancy
tomorrow
Ball says,
I'll give you an update tomorrow.
Dan, you are a lovely, lovely person, but you have to move it. Keep the peace, man, for the harmony of it all. It's very typical of Nancy.
Nancy, yes.
Nancy,
very.
I don't know what seriously. I just want to just put a pin in the discussion about the shitter for a second. I said last week, is there a nicer person than Nancy Ball? I was just hoping that Nancy heard me say that, because I didn't see any response from her. I just wanted her to know that she occupies a spot in the Humble and Fred world. I think have we solved? Well, okay, at least we've come to an agreement, and what we'll have is we'll have your people get together and figure it out.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Cool.
I better go prepare the news.
Before you go, Dan,
I'm so late.
if I can just, it is. Well, we had a lot to get through. I didn't know it was going to take. I didn't know the segment would go on that long, but why not?
Oh my goodness! Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh well. Time flies when you're having fun.
No, I was going to say time flies when you're kind of aggravated. See, you do an impression of Dan when he gets mad, but you have a bit of a tone. You get a bit of a tone. Oh, you're kidding, aren't you? That was the real Fred Patterson. You're kidding, right?
Yeah.
You're kidding, right? Yeah.
This
can't be serious.
That's not the way you said it.
You didn't say it. You didn't say it.
No,
you're kidding, right? You were like, get very... You're kidding, right?
Check the time capsule.
Yeah, this is a 3-act play, and this is scene 2, right?
Fuck 3-act
Well, it is
play.
now. It is now.
This plays when this is fucking week. This is the second week of this play.
Okay.
All right. Listen, Dan. Listen. I had a palate cleanser. I had a palate cleanser for you.
Okay.
That maybe take us out of the, take us to a time when we were all, innocent, before Dan even started at the trailer world, where I had just met Fred Patterson. I met Fred Patterson in August of 1989. And a couple months later, Fred and Dan, of course, I'd known him for years, was the best man at my wedding.
Oh, right.
And I'd only known Fred and Dahl a couple months, and then we got to be friends. And obviously, we're working on the show together. This guy... He ended up at my wedding somehow. We became friends pretty quick. But today's the day I got married. In November 18th, 1989. You guys were there. Some people I've never seen. Some people I've never seen since were there. Many years ago. Yes, many years ago in Montreal. Lumbee was there. You guys were there. Steve Anthony was there.
And why was Steve there? Because of Carla?
Yeah, because his girlfriend at the time was a good friend of ex-wife Randy's. And
okay.
And her name was Carla Segato, and her sister's Lorraine Segato from the Parachute Club. And
this is an... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say this is another indication of the wonderful way you guys have handled your separation divorce, because a lot of guys would not stop down and sort of celebrate, which you are on some level right now, celebrating that day when you're no longer married.
Well, acknowledging it because you guys were there. And I sent Randy a note this morning saying happy birthday,
Birthday.
Or whatever. Yeah, happy birthday. That's what I said.
Yeah. Oh, I said, you got married on her birthday, did you?
Really sincere.
I don't, it'd be funny. I'm not sure what to say in special occasions. I'll just say happy birthday. I sent her a note, but I was thinking about the reason I thought of it is November 18th is the day we got married, and that wedding. And Anthony was there and a bunch of other people. And, they do that thing at weddings where, now it's just a phone. But in those days, like somebody, I guess we had hired the videographer person, and they're walking around with like an actual big camera going from table to table, getting people to say, hey, what do you want to say to the bride and groom, that bit. Well, I look over at one point, and Anthony, who at the time was like a big celebrity on Much Music, I see over there, and I look over, and Anthony's talking to the camera. Then I go to somewhere else. I look back, and Anthony's still talking to the camera. And I was like, I walk over at some point, and there's other people at the table I wanted to hear from. I said, hey, Steve, you have your own TV show. Just put the camera down. But 1989, fellas, 34 years ago.
That's fantastic.
Long before the bad feelings were created by Shittergate
Oh, yeah. Way back.
Way
but it's
back.
also, and it's good to celebrate because, your two lovely daughters came from your union, and to Fred's point, you guys are still friends and still hang out once in a while. It's, couldn't ask for a better outcome of the whole thing.
Yes. Actually, speaking of my two daughters, I'll leave this segment by saying that they got together with we all got together for breakfast on the weekend with my new friend.
Oh, nice.
The girl's meeting her for the first time. Actually, Charlie had met her.
Really?
Well, Charlie had met her a week ago or so. We stopped by just to say hi, but this was the first sort of sit-down meal, and Spencer was so funny because she says to me, she calls me up a couple days before the brunch. She goes, "Hey, I just want to, can I tell you something?" I said, "Sure, honey." She goes, "What I'm about to tell you," she said, "I just want you to hear it with an open heart. I don't want you to be defensive. Just that sometimes when you introduce us to people, it's like, you sort of overdo all the, trying to make sure everyone knows this and that." And she said, "Just do me a favor this time." She goes, "Just don't MC the breakfast."
That's great.
I could see you.
I said
That's good.
I said that to Lemmy yesterday, and he laughed his ass off because only somebody that knows you would know why that was funny. And I said, "Honey, I respect that. I get it. I'm going to just let you guys." She goes, "I just want to get to know her without you trying to, control the conversation and tell everybody what they should know about each person."
Great,
oh,
right.
I know. Just don't.
And it went well, no doubt, right?
I just shoved my face. I did. It went really well. And afterwards, Spencer called me and said, "Listen, I'm very proud of how you handle it." I said, "Well, proud? All I did was sit there and pay for it. That was my job."
Right.
Anyway, it was really fun, and we had a nice time. And
Was that hard to do, by the way? Did you want to get in there and do some,
a couple times I wanted to put things into context, and I just went, "No, just ate more of my eggs Benedict."
Ooh,
That was very fun. All right. Well,
that's great that the girls met her and everything went well, and the memories of your wedding, which was a fun weekend in Montreal. It was great.
As I say, just a little bit of distance and a palate cleanser between somebody who I won't name put something that was filled with shit up against your trailer.
And just so the listenership knows, this is not anything that will be lasting or anything. Dan and I have had these situations from time to time over the years regarding various issues. Usually it's something he's done to me, but I'll overlook that end of it because I love the guy like a brother. And
it's not relationship ending. Yeah.
No, sometimes he does odd things, and I think we can all attest to that. And this is just another one along the way, Howard.
Along the way.
All right, Freddie, while we have a moment here, Dan, go prepare your news, if you wouldn't mind. And then Fred Man, can you get started with some stuff here? Because I'm...
I also made a note here. I want to not read, but I want to deliver sort of like a disclaimer on something that I was thinking about all weekend.
You want to do a disclaimer? Mm-hmm. I love
on
it.
Something.
Disclaim away.
Now or after?
No,
this?
After. I got to find some stuff here while you go.
Let's talk about the Chambers of Commerce Group Insurance Plan, Canada's #1 group benefits plan for small business. Canada's it's the best plan that you can be involved in with small business because it's designed specifically for small business. It's not anything else. So you go to chamberplan.ca, you give the information about your small business, and then they give you options for buy-in. And you'll be pleasantly surprised. Affordable. They do a great job on holding the line on premiums. You can look at the history. It's fantastic. And there's dental and, prescriptions, obviously, some travel insurance, different levels you can buy in at with different products under each umbrella, like an HR component. Fantastic for small business. You can't afford a full-time HR person. Figure it out. And the teledoc system, on and on and on. Take the time today. Check it out. Chambers of Commerce Group Insurance Plan at chamberplan.ca.
And while I have your attention, if in fact I do, let me tell you about the happy hours at Kelsey's. Plan again this week coming up. There's plenty going on, but every day you go to Kelsey's. They love happy hours so much they celebrate it not 1 time a day, 2 times a day. Join them for $5 Draft Freddy, wine and mixed drinks, and $10 appetizers every day from 3 to 5 and 8 until close only at Kelsey's. Must be legal drinking age, of course. I mean, let's be serious. And they would like you to enjoy it responsibly. And by the way, at the end of this Kelsey's broadcast, I have an announcement about Kelsey's. At Kelsey's, it feels good to give back. They've partnered with the Boys and Girls Club of Canada to give back locally. Visit your local Roadhouse and buy a $5 gift card, a $5 kid card, and you'll get 3 meals free. All proceeds to the Boys and Girls Club of Canada. And as I mentioned before, there's an opportunity to book your holiday party at Kelsey's. And it's on. Just you go ahead. If you book a big party, you get to use their menu, 10% off when you host a party of 8 or more. All right, and speaking of Christmas parties, on December 22nd, for the first time since we've been doing Christmas with Humble and Fred, we're going to do one on a Sunday, kind of like a Sunday Christmas lunch at Kelsey's on Sunday, December 22nd.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. It's going to be warm and fuzzy. Just think about that. A few days before Christmas, all gathering on a Sunday. It's going to be nice.
And it will always, and it's going to be at that Kelsey's that we've been doing it at. It's a corporate store. They like us there to help promote Kelsey's corporately. So all the details still to come, but it's not that long away. 3 or 4 weeks from now. I'll just say, if you'd like to go, we always just do this, get a sense of the number of people. Just write us a note, Humble and Fred at humbleandfredradio.com. Subject line, Kelsey's Christmas, and just tell us how many people you want to bring. For Sunday, it'll be around, again, somewhere between 11 and 1 in that area. By that time, you've got most of your Christmas shopping done. It's a chance for you to kind of also be where we're located to beat the traffic. It won't be that bad on a Sunday morning. So all of it, we're going to have some performances if we can. Mostly, we just want to hang with you for the holidays and with our friends at Kelsey's to provide the facility. All right, so Sunday, December 22nd is now officially the date for Humble and Fred's Kelsey's Christmas 2024.
Fantastic.
What do you have now? You have a disclaimer?
Yes. Going back to last week and that debacle of a skit we did with Bobby Orr and Wayne Gretzky.
Yes. Somebody said it was. Here's how bad they said it was. They said it was cringy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I got to be fair. It was my idea. I phoned Howard and I texted Howard and I said we should do some little skit about these guys, having a conversation over supporting Trump. And so it was my idea, and I wrote the meat of it. So I don't want that stink on you because you don't deserve it. No, seriously.
That's very funny.
I mean, you have a comedic reputation to uphold, and you're a stand-up comic, and you write comedy and stuff. But I'm thinking that I wasn't clear enough last week. It was almost like I'm letting you take some heat. But I did. The meat of it I wrote. It was my idea. So blame me for that. I thought it was a good idea. Didn't think it was that bad, on paper.
Listen,
but, by the time it was presented, it was a dog. I admit it. All right.
Okay. Well, that's very nice of you. We talked about it. We were both going to take a stab at it. I had a couple of ideas. Well, let me just back up. When we talked about it, I was all in. I said, yeah, that's not the kind of thing we do anymore. But why not give it a shot? And as you said with your explanation, you were saying, Stern, they do stuff, all the time. They just throw stuff at the wall, and we don't. We do more of a sort of a free-form skit, which is, 5 days of talking about the porta potty. Mm-hmm. But I bought into the idea. I thought, yeah, we could do something like that. and I had a couple of ideas, mostly rape jokes.
Yes, you did.
To be fair, I just wanted to be yelling about rape. But when you sent me your first draft, I thought, oh, it's pretty good. I'm trying to think, Howard. I'm trying to find the script because I wrote the introduction that had the rape jokes in it.
Right.
And I thought our performance was just fine. Was it our finest moment? No.
No, but I just thought, there was, talking points through the Trump election that I thought, the insurrection and all the stuff that we would just sort of sideways talk about through that, and it didn't work.
So, Fred, here's what we know. Fred can do no wrong. Richard Bullis just said, Fred, you're a stand-up guy, even though you're not a stand-up guy. I would like to point out, though, however, and that is true, you are a stand-up guy. There is not a moment since we did it that I didn't share the blame for it. I wasn't going to go on, this thing sucked, Fred wrote it.
No, I know, and that's what had me thinking about that, thinking, it's almost like that thing was so bad. I don't want people to think that it was it was collaborative. You wrote the intro, but that really wasn't what died. It was the meat of it that I had written. So, what can I say? You try, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
But honestly, I didn't think... I thought maybe a mild reaction or, it was okay, but it was just universally bad.
Oh, no, it was hated.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just so everyone knows, the process is normally we discuss these things. When you wrote your first draft, I was going to write a few things in there. I thought, you know what? Yeah. For what this is, that's all I thought. I thought, for what this is, this is just fine. And I'll hear. So yes, I'm looking at the bit now. Yeah, I wrote My only joke in the introduction was Humble and Fred News has obtained this exclusive conversation from a podcast called Rapist Can Be Anything, Even President. which
that was kind of funny. See, probably at that point, everyone's encouraged. At that point, everybody's thinking, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. Right.
I wrote the only other line I wrote was how we introduced ourselves. Hello, everyone. I'm Bobby Orr. And I had you say, and I'm Wayne Gretzky. And great to be here on Licking Trump's Asshole.
Right. Again. Oh, this is going to be good.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's funny, man.
Yeah, the upside, if there is one, is we won't try that again.
No.
Although that's the wrong way. Like, I mean, you could write one tomorrow and it might be a smash hit. Like, who knows? But maybe generally it's not what we do. But anyway, well, we've done other banter bits that have gone over well over the years. But
I'll just say this: that you're kind to disinclude me from the process. But listen, I was part of it. I was hanging in there. I was hanging in there with you.
Yeah, but nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Somebody says here, I'll take that bit over the condo guy. I'll take that bit over the condo guy any day. You have nothing to apologize for.
That's funny.
Richard says, it sounds better the second time. Yeah, it sounds better, Richard, because I just read the intro. Maybe just to prove how bad it was, we should do it again. Fuck.
I don't think that's necessary.
That's right.
And over our history, which concerns me a bit, this one. Over our history, like, we've done lots of bits, and some have been great, and some have been okay. I don't ever recall one being, like, perceived as, like, bad shit.
Yeah, cringy.
Like this one.
Yeah. This was a first for us.
Oh, it was, actually.
Yeah, it was.
odd, usually people just take them for what they are, and a little bit, okay, it was sort of funny, it was okay, but not this one. This one was like,
no, this one actually hurt to people. It was it was so bad. I mean, people that really like us really hated it.
Yeah. So, and it got me thinking, and it really, and I don't know how many times I've said this over the years. I really admire what stand-up comics do. How you put yourself in that position. And then, obviously, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but I'm just giving my perspective on why I have such respect for what you do and comics do. Just the process, like, you can write something and it's not bad or pretty good, and then if it's not delivered properly, then there was no use doing it. And again, it's just part of that whole stand-up thing. You come up with the concept, you write it, and then you have to stand in front of people who are just staring at you and deliver it properly. And it's not an easy thing to do, is it, Howard?
No, but in our case, you pointed out quite correctly that because okay, and I'm going to be honest. When you sent me your script, I thought, it didn't have it didn't have as much rape jokes as I was hoping we would have, but I threw one in the intro. But when I saw it, I thought, okay, because I really joked. But when I saw it, I thought, oh, it's good enough. It's just going to be, it'll be a cute. Here's what I thought. It's going to be a cute little thing. We'll do it. It'll get a reaction. Maybe people will smile. But what I noticed after 3 days, that's why I brought it up, was there literally was no reaction. And then when I brought it up, the reaction was, and by the way, and this also shows you how kind our listeners are.
Yes.
How kind our listeners are that they didn't say, they so like us that they didn't want to hurt our feelings. That's all changed now.
No,
fucking Richard Bullis. Richard Bullis just wrote, he says, I think a lot of us thought you were doing a dramatic piece.
That's true.
It was a dramatic reading.
We literally had to pull it out of them because nobody said anything until you brought it up, and then we got a reaction. But there was a bit in there about him banging Ivanka. Like, that was sort of rapey and a little, incestuous and stuff.
I know. I'm still trying to figure out why I can't get Nancy Ball to acknowledge that I think she's awesome. I think she's just shy. Okay, well, listen. Thank you for that declaration. Would you call it a disclaimer?
Yeah, it was a disclaimer. I wanted the stink off you.
Well, I had some of that stink on me. Hey, a bunch of other stuff going on. I was, I wasn't here last November, but this November has been like no November I can remember November for some time. And I don't think it was as warm this year as it was last November, but so far I've really, it's been nice. I've been out walking.
Yeah.
It's been, just nice. I don't know when. So I guess not to bring doom and gloom, but when nowadays in Toronto, when does it really start to turn winter? Like early December? And I have answer that question. I have a follow up.
I don't know. What's your question? It's been a slow build to this. Unsettled longer in the spring and then warmer into the fall. And again, not to bring politics and everything, again, all these people here in Canada, so happy that he won the election. Look at what they're doing with the EPA down there. And it ain't going to get any better out of the biggest, most powerful country on earth. I mean, we're staring right down the barrel of a big issue like climate. Like, come on. We're dealing with,
we've been staring down the barrel for quite some time.
No, I know, and it's not getting any better. It's getting obviously worse, and now we're going to be into a whole phase where the most powerful country on the earth is going to take the attitude, oh, it's no big deal, and proceed as They shouldn't.
Well, yeah, that but they proceed as you could have predicted. I know you and I kind of. It's so predictable. Everything they're, and I really have pulled back. I peruse it. I've a couple things I'm aware of. You're aware of. We talked about Gates and Musk and fucking JFK Jr. being appointed the head of the health care system of some kind. But it's all just so predictable. And what I have done, I've made myself do this, is every time I think, okay, I'll get into some, they call it doom scrolling, or I said, no, all that time I've wasted, I'm going to put it to some other use. So rather than listening to politics podcasts on my walk, I think I told you this last week, all I've done is replaced it with something I'm learning. And so I have been listening to, I'll go on a 20-minute, 30-minute walk, and I've got Spanish on. I'm learning, kind of re-engaging with that. And I got to tell you, I don't know if I've learned a whole bunch more, but I know it doesn't get me as aggravated, and my internal thermostat stays a bit more neutral.
You can't pull away from the news completely, but since the election, I have not clicked on CNN or MSNBC or any American service. I just read my local, CBC News site, CTV News, maybe CP24, City. I just read my local news, and there are stories within that you read about what's going on down there now. And I think, well, that's just sort of how the average normal person maybe is absorbing it. So that's where I'm at with it. And then I'm reading about whatever's going on in Toronto or Canada, and then you see that story, and it's like, ooh, this guy that, he's hired to handle the Environmental Protection Agency thinks climate change is a hoax. Well, that can't be good. And then on to the next thing. You know what I mean?
No, exactly. I just I'm not taking it in at a visceral level, and I found myself, wandering around with the dog yesterday and the day before, taking some time and saying, okay, if I could sit here getting all excited about Trump and things I have no control over, and
there's no use now.
And Jake Tapper interviewing Mike Johnson, I should probably watch that. And I keep saying no. And I know it's going to sound hokey, but then I go, nope, I'm just going to go study for a little bit and do something that won't bring my temperature up.
I same thing on my walks, but I made a mistake because this award-winning, highly acclaimed podcast from the CBC, Someone Knows Something. Have you heard about this?
No, I haven't.
And they take sort of cold cases, Canadian murders or whatever, and then do podcasts around them. And I'm listening to them, and they're well done and fascinating, but they don't make you feel very good because often it's about, kids that have gone missing and, were sexually abused before they found the body and stuff. And I'm thinking, this probably isn't, this is artful what this guy has done, but I don't feel so good at the end of this walk, right?
Yeah, yesterday, making dinner for myself, I thought I'm going to put on something. I'd listen, I've set myself a goal every day, as I do, of how much Spanish I'm going to study every day. So it doesn't matter. So once I got that done, I'm making dinner last night, I thought, okay, I've heard enough Spanish today. What else could I listen to? And I was going to look around some different shows that I like, some political shows. And I thought, it's been a while. And I listened to Laura Linney as a guest on Smartless.
Oh, okay.
She's the actress that played, she's famous for a million things, but she was Jason Bateman's wife on Ozark.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah.
And I knew that would be a cool, part of my favorite thing about that show is when the guest is revealed and everyone freaks out. But, so it was a bit of 25, 30 minutes of just kind of mindless, this is interesting, fine. Again, it doesn't do anything to my internal thermostat. I don't get, I don't start to get wound up about it.
No, it was great for me last week, too, because I went from constantly leading up to the election in the evening, looking at, following the run-up. And then I cut it off after the election. And most of last week in the evening, I was watching, that British show. I was talking about Slow Horses. It was neat, Your mindset changes. And as you point out, it's over now. There's really nothing we can do about it other than just sit back and watch and see what happens. One other thing I was reading in Canadian news the other day was JFK, and he's going to lead that Department of Health or whatever. Within that, though, I did read he's going to go after a lot of the big companies with additives, what's going into our food. That doesn't bother me too much. It's too bad it's him, and I wish they'd have done it before now, but I don't mind that. I think it's time for that.
I agree. I agree. I read that.
You just got to be honest. You know what I mean? You got to be honest.
Yeah, but okay. So that one part of what he's going to do makes sense. Mm-hmm. It's just there's so much else folded into the convoluted nonsense that's going to be my concern. I was going to say my only concern, but a concern I would have is the continual misinformation that's going to be spewed from that for the next 4 years. I don't believe democracy is at stake in the United States. I do believe that the battle for narrative supremacy, the battle for who wins the narrative, I think is going to be very hard for the Democrats to claw back. Because he's not only going to do something about additives, but he's going to make people more and more vaccine nervous.
Yes. And, the aggravation that you can feel through it also. The economy in the United States is gangbusters right now. The inflation rate's going down. Job numbers have popped up. All the main indicators. Prices are still a bit high, but that will take time, if in fact they ever change. But the whole time, even during this great economy, we were hearing the run-up to the election that it's horrible and the situation's putrid. Maybe you sent me the article, or someone did. Within 2 weeks, he'll take credit for the economy that he didn't create. And it's that type of thing that will aggravate me.
Well, and people will believe it. That's what I'm saying.
People will believe it.
People will believe it.
You believe what you want to believe.
That's right.
Yeah.
And not to get too deep into it, because I want to move on. By the way, everyone, we've been putting this off. As soon as Dan gets back, we're going to announce the Sunwing gift card winner. So that's coming up very, very shortly if you want to fast forward through anything. What were we just saying? That he's going to win the disinformation.
I was just saying he's going to take credit for the economy, almost instantly, like he did the last time with Obama. But that's the nature of the beast.
Well, I couldn't. I was going to make a point about something else, but it doesn't matter. Hey, we've got a little work to do still, my friend.
Yes, we do.
Let me just click there. Yeah, you've got a bunch of stuff to do, so let's get that going here. Let's do what we have to do.
The Monday Night Football game. Hey, this is the Battle of Texas. It's the Houston Texans at the Dallas Cowboys. My goodness, how times have changed. Look at this. The Texans, a 7-point pick to beat the Cowboys. The money line is minus 350 on the Texans. I've never been a Dallas Cowboy fan. In fact, I find them very distasteful, so I'm somewhat enjoying their horrible season. Go get them, Texans. Whether you're a sports bettor, a horse racing fan, a poker, casino player, Bodog, your number one source of online gambling entertainment. From their industry-leading odds, world-class sportsbook, to their fully loaded casino and racebook, they've been providing Canadian players with an unparalleled gaming experience since 1994. That's Bodog.
Well said, young man. Let me just get to... I got a bunch of things open here. Why can't I find them? Here we go. Here we go. Lots of stuff happening at the company that is throwing their support behind this company. Of course, I'm referring to Boron 1, an emerging international junior mining and exploration company engaged in the acquisition, exploration, and development of boron resource properties. Their strategy is to uncover and capitalize on unique development opportunities. All of this could be beneficial for you. Say you had some money that you would like to invest. When companies like this, one in 1,000 ever gets to this stage, it could make some money for you. I don't know, at least have a look at it. Fred and I have no idea about finances, clearly. We do rely on people to help us. The Retirement Sherpa, Sherpa J, and Tim Daniels at Boron 1. Find out what this company's up to and if it could possibly be part of your portfolio purchases at boron1.com. Before Dan comes back, I didn't watch any of the fight. I did hear some things. A couple quick things. Jake Paul v. Mike Tyson. There was a lot of trouble. I didn't watch it, read about it, but I didn't see it on Netflix in real time. But I understand there was a lot of problems. Did you tune in at all?
Yeah, it wasn't even part of my world. Friday night I went to Johnny Slapshot's hockey game. Well, I went to my granddaughter May had a game at 5:30 in Milton, and then Johnny had one at 7:15 in Oakville. I went to both games, and Johnny was named player of the game. He scored a goal. He scored a goal, almost scored a second one. Howard, he's a neat little player, and he set up his centerman with a goal you wouldn't believe it. He just got the puck deep in his zone and put a pass right on this guy's stick going up the middle, and the guy went in and scored. And it was a lot of fun to watch. Anyway, during the game, I was talking to my son-in-law, Josh, and he told me about this fight, and I thought, oh, okay, I didn't even really follow this or know, and he said it's on Netflix. I said, Netflix? He said, yeah, Prime, they're getting into some live stuff and live sports. So I came home to put it on only to see how Netflix would present something like this. I didn't care about Tyson I just wanted to see the presentation, the texture of it. And it was just a debacle.
In terms of the audio or the video, meaning it was
everything. Everything. It was a mass problem. I guess it blew their servers to pieces, whatever. But I watched the preliminary fight for a bit, and then I went back. And every time I went back, I went to the preliminary fight, even though it was well beyond that fight. And then it was buffering, and it got to 99% and just stayed there.
Yeah,
nothing
that's when I heard people had trouble with it.
Yeah, it was weird. So I didn't see, not that I would have stayed up anyway, but again, that's when I gave up on it, it was buffering the 99% and nothing.
Well, it was an experiment. Yeah. It's part of, I was just trying to find the article I have. I thought I picked it out. It's part of, Netflix is trying to expand. They're going to have more live events, some football's coming up. They're still experimenting with this. Some subscriptions are ad-based as well. But so that was whatever it was, whatever Netflix hoped to achieve through it. This is the fallout from it. It's just us people talking about how shitty this buffering was, and 99%. In the end, Jake Paul, who I have read was like a YouTube boxing star of some kind.
I don't know.
He got $40 million. Tyson got $20 million.
Jeez.
And Tyson lost the fight. 58-year-old man. I don't know. I think he lost it on a unanimous decision. It wasn't like he got knocked out.
No, and that's just insulting to boxing fans. Those things. I don't know.
One last thing before I don't know. I don't really follow boxing as I once did. But there was an interesting little thing I had read about this Jake Paul kid, who's a very big, strong man, who got into the ring with a 58-year-old Mike Tyson and then was chirping after words to the effect that, yeah, man, I could have beat Tyson at any stage in his career.
Really?
Yeah, he said that. And then I saw that post, And then the comments from people who said Mike Tyson in his prime would have killed you, like killed you dead.
And ate your ear first.
Yeah, would have eaten your fucking ear and then killed your face.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, whatever it was, it's part of a greater conversation about what Netflix and streamers are going to be doing and have already started doing about live sporting events.
And here's a big concern of mine. Apple TV does Friday night baseball games. And when the Jays are involved, the production is horrible. The announcers are horrible. Prime has started doing Monday night NHL games. Horrible show. They show the game fine. But the intermissions and the fluff around it, really amateurish. Not good at all. And now we have Netflix doing this. If these streamers are going to get into this business, they got to pull up their socks, because it's just not very good what they've done.
Well, they
all
will
three
catch up.
sports.
Yeah, they will catch up though.
I hope so,
because they got a lot of money behind it. I don't know what I thought until just a second ago. I just thought that when the streamers were taking, especially Prime, when they were showing games, I just assumed they were taking the feed from some people that were already doing it.
No, they have their own
They're
crew.
self-producing the broadcast.
Yes. And a couple of weeks ago, when the Leafs were on, it was painful. When the game's on, it's fine, but I don't even know who was doing the play-by-play. I've heard better. But just the production per se, beginning to end, was painful. It was bad. And same with the Friday night baseball games. I know Prime is doing football, and I've seen a couple of those games, not quite as bad, but considering what Netflix just went through with this boxing match, they're gonna... Can you imagine that? The thing is about Netflix, if you were a subscriber, you had it anyway, so this was considered a bonus. But what if you had paid for it?
Yeah,
and then not been able to watch it.
Like if it was, but when these things tend to be pay-per-view, you're getting great quality. Dan Duran is back. Dan, toast. Now, have you spent the last half hour with like BetterHelp? Are you with talking to a therapist online? Have you? I'm your therapist, but I've been busy talking to the other defendant.
I've been just bottling it up inside, which may not be healthy, but that's the way I decided to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to tell you what. We have to leave this subject alone until tomorrow, because we really have chewed up a lot of the scenery, and we do have some stuff to do.
And there's stuff to do. I've got to
you
make
got to do the
move.
news.
Yeah,
I've got to. We've got to announce our Sunwing winner.
The winner.
Yes, Stan.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
yes,
wow.
There was more than
big
just
day. Yeah.
Another egregious. Before we get to our Sunwing winner, Fred talked a little bit about the Bodog odds. What does Bodog have to say?
Looking for a way to relax after a long day? Come on. Tired of being notified by life's bells and whistles?
Yeah, I'm going to need that draft tomorrow.
When you're ready to stop working so hard, you know it's time to play. It's easy to find your next favorite game at Bodog.net. Play free casino games, check out our beginner's guides, and get poker tips. Visit Bodog.net today. # make a play.
A week ago, we were gifted a contest, and we were able to pass it on to you all from our friend Adam Groh. Adam, of course, from Cash Cab, and he was on talking about this thing, the vacation van. Here's the question: what Sunwing vacation mystery destination country might you visit based on the answer to this question? And the question popularized blah 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 stogies, Conestoga. Well, anyway, the answer was stogies or cigars. Sorry. And Cuba, I think, and very, very, very many entries. Like hundreds of people mostly got the answer right. I will say, mostly the answer was right. So without further ado and delay, we would like to congratulate Aaron Strong, who sent a note. Hi guys, because I'm not an animal, love the show. My answers are cigar and Cuba. Aaron Strong, spelled interestingly, A-R-O-N. Aaron Strong, listener since Mojo, Fred.
Wow. Talk radio for guys.
Yeah. P.S. The Gretzky Orr thing was the worst thing you've ever done.
Well, congratulations to Eric Strong.
Aaron
Strong.
Aaron
Strong, not Eric.
Aaron Strong.
Aaron Strong, yeah.
There's the applause. There's the applause for Aaron Strong. Thank you.
Sounds like rain.
Is that rain? I don't know which one's applause. Label them. Well, how do you label them?
Well, you have to look at the instruction manual. I don't know. I think you can label them.
Okay.
That's a neat prize. I mean, depending on where you go, that could take a nice little chunk out of your bill, eh?
A $500 gift card for your next Sunwing vacation. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, thanks to everybody that entered. We've already got one entry for our Kelsey's Christmas. Can you guess who it is? I'll tell you who it is. It's Chris K.
Oh, really?
Chris is in, man.
Yep. Columbus Blue Jackets #1 fan. Figure that out.
That's right. What did you just send me a video for?
Oh, Ian Service had sent me that. I wanted to just see it. It's about hot dogs and, our ongoing discussion about putting peanut butter on hot dogs. And he sent me this TikTok thing about hot dogs. And the first thing that's put on that hot dog that comes with a little jingle is peanut butter.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And the jingle is quite...
well, you know what? I'll listen to it once we wrap this thing up.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait till RFK gets a hold of hot dogs.
Yeah, that's crazy.
There's a fair number of preservatives in the hot dog.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The only problem with that is, they continuously talk about lowering prices. You take the additives out of food, it's going to cost a lot more.
Yeah, and not that I want to belabor this, but there was a photo from Trump's plane of him, Musk, RFK, and Don Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And they're on a private plane. This is the president-elect of the United States sending a message to his followers, and all four of these dunder fucks are all eating McDonald's. So
all of them?
RFK. They're all RFK. He's got a big fucking Mac, and they're all got fries, and Trump's holding up his thumb. You see? Yeah, that's good example for the folks.
Not only, and again, here we go.
Here we go.
No, you talk about disqualifying. This Matt Gaetz thing, there's a woman now that's come out and said she witnessed him having sex with a 17-year-old. Like that, it's like a little flea on your shoulder or something that they're just going to flick off.
They're not. He's not going to get confirmed.
Well, I would hope.
No, he's not.
But you talk about a lineup of creeps.
Yeah, but no one believes it. Like anyone that supports Trump,
I know.
No one's going to believe that Matt. But the senators, even in his own party, like Mitch McConnell came out today and said there will be no recess appointments. I don't want to explain anymore what that is. Let's go on.
Okay.
Hey, Dan Duran. Are you ready?
Now, here's to a fella named Dan Duran, a hell of a guy with a hella big wang, the quintessential anchor man. His voice is nice and low. Dan Duran, the anchorman comes. As for credentials, he has none. Can't tell a headline from his bum, but his voice is nice and low. Dan Duran, the anchorman's here. He's prone to falling off his chair, but he's got a big wang, so he don't care, and his voice is nice and low.
My voice is nice and low.
And now, live from Lisa's house, soon to be part of the matrimonial, the get together.
Oh, matrimonial thing.
Oh, matrimony.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to have like a lake marriage where you get married at the lake, that type of thing?
Yeah, there's no marriage coming up, but we enjoy the lake together. We do.
You might want to make sure that when they put the porta potty up for the wedding,
Oh, and I'm sure he'll schedule it, the ceremony to be on my deck.
Without asking, by the way.
No, that's right. The ceremony will be on your
You
deck.
won't even invite me to the wedding. It'll just be at my
The
place.
ceremony will be on your deck, and then they will honeymoon in your bed. The honeymoon will be in your bed, and you will have to not be there. You can sleep outside. All right, live.
Fred, if you can have your boat in the water in time,
Yeah, that'd be great.
Of course.
Borrow that, too.
Yeah, of course.
Live from Lisa's house, here he is, news man, anchor man, TV man, Dan Duran.
Okay, the fourth typhoon, which is like a hurricane but south of the equator, ripped through the Philippines yesterday. That's the fourth typhoon in 2 weeks. Unprecedented. Brazil's First Lady insults Elon Musk at the G20 summit. The phrase she used was, "Fuck you, Elon Musk." Awesome. And if you don't know, Brazil sued X because they wouldn't eliminate some of the misinformation or disinformation on their site, so they were fined and they finally paid it. So the X is back up and running. Anyway, also Beyonce will perform at the halftime Ravens Texans Christmas Day game on the next Netflix live thingy, so that'll be fun. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about keratopigmentation.
Yes.
A new risky cosmetic procedure. An increasing number of patients are going under the laser for keratopigmentation, or, do you know what it is?
I'm sorry, say that. It's keratopigmentation?
Yes.
That's something to do with carrots and your toe, Dan, I believe. I believe that's what that is.
Yeah,
Is it changing? It changes your skin color somehow?
It actually, you're close.
It turns your toes into carrots. That needs to be addressed.
That's even closer, yeah.
You turn orange like the big idiot. Right, okay.
It's corneal tattooing. So the color part of your eye, they are changing the eye color.
Ooh,
with this surgery.
Creepy.
It's very risky. Well, I don't know how risky it is, but there is risks involved, with possibly getting an infection, can lead to pain, swelling.
I was wondering if you were going to possibly get an inflection where all of a sudden you start speaking incorrectly.
Blurred vision is a risk, and triggering other eye diseases. It costs about 17,000 Canadian or 12,000 US. Not usually covered by insurance.
Well, I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, guy going in and painting your cornea basically with a tattoo gun. I don't know how that, why you'd want to risk that, but it is something that's it's up and coming, a new trend of sorts.
We've all had that thing where you get like a little piece of dirt or a fly piece of something goes into your eye, and it's annoying and it irritates you. Whenever I hear about people getting needles in their eye for any reason, I find it, I get that reaction like, fuck, man. Imagine sitting there while somebody is tattooing a different color into your cornea. I can't imagine a doctor would be like, yeah, I think we could do that. Sure. I mean,
yeah, your eyes. Jeez.
Even creepier, though, is have you ever seen people, usually people with a lot of tattoos, have had their eyeballs like changed to a different color, like black or something like that? You ever seen that?
Like where they wear contacts?
No, they actually inject the eyeball with a dye so that the white of your eye turns black or, chosen color.
Yeah.
Again, a needle, the sentence... A needle in the eye. I find that uncomfortable.
Unless you're trying to correct something, it doesn't make any sense to take the risk to me.
Well, you would think so. You'd think that how interested are you in showing the world how cool or whatever you are that you'd think, hey, I'll just pop in and have some needles in my eye.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just get a contact that changes the color of your... I mean, it's a contact, but, there's hassle involved, but...
Do you still wear contacts?
As much as getting... Me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
From time to time?
Yeah. Not right now, obviously, but yeah, no, I wear contacts.
I admire that. I don't think even just because of that, like, I don't think I could flip a lens into my eyelid.
Same here. It would be a disaster. I'd screw it up somehow. I'd lose them. It would be a waste of time.
It's funny because Charlie, my daughter, has been wearing contacts since her probably late teens, early 20s. You know, she had to have glasses as a kid. Mm-hmm. And every once in a while, like she slept over here Friday night because she was working during the day here and we hung out. And when she puts her glasses on, I think she looks, I love it. You know, it's for some reason it reminds me of her as a kid. And
yeah, no, I get it.
And it was very sweet.
I saw something that was interesting. I went to, my sister came to town to watch along
yes,
her,
this is what
her
we
nieces,
heard.
My nieces, her daughters, and a childhood friend of theirs, which I knew. They all came to watch the Taylor Swift concert.
Yes.
And then they stayed and then went down. They were like exploring. They went to Niagara Falls and they went to Kensington Market yesterday, and they ended up at in the Distillery District. And I hadn't been down to the Distillery District for a long time. In there, by the way, I'll get back to that, but in there was a store that takes pictures of your eyeball and it turns it into a portrait. I don't know how much it costs, but it's like nothing but, your cornea, what we're talking about here, turns into this, a big circle with your eyeball, up on a wall. I guess you'd hang it as art.
No.
But I was astonished how the parking around there is
it's crazy.
Wild.
Yeah,
and there's that market, the Christmas market that's going on
they
there.
Charge you they charge you to go into the Christmas market now.
At after 4 o'clock. I mean, I remember that market, and it seemed to me it used to be free or a couple of bucks.
I don't think it was ever free.
But it's $15 to get in now.
Yes, it is.
15 just to get in after you spend, I don't know, $20 on parking. Just to wander around and shop. It's really an outdoor mall at this point.
Send me pictures.
Well, listen, my friend ex-GFR lived about 4 blocks north of there, so I drove by it a lot. I know the area, and there's lots of places that you can park away from there if you want to walk 3 or 4 blocks.
Yeah.
And, I always used to sort of go, I'd never go in there, but I've been in that. I've been in that Distillery District quite a bit. I think it's nice. I mean, it's a little overpriced. It's overpriced at Christmas time or whatever, but I like to wander around it.
I remember, like, that whole area back in the days, we shot some RoboCop stuff down in that area when I was, before it became, renovated. Liz West got married in that area near the Balzac's coffee
Mike
shop.
Mike Boone got married.
She got married near a ball sack. What?
Yeah.
Yes.
In a ball.
She got married in a ball sack. One of Dan's giant ball sacks.
Yeah.
Didn't Boone get
Dan,
married
what
down?
do you charge?
Didn't Boone get married down there too?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah,
well, that was an infamous day.
All right. Can we just get out of this show without other people being charged with indiscretions?
Hey,
tomorrow on the yes.
No, I was going to say he talked about ice. I have an ear story to tell, but we can hold it off till tomorrow.
Tomorrow, ears after eyes.
Tomorrow we'll talk about ears.
I just want to throw something off you. Yeah, a visit ears and a visit to Costco. And
all right.
Anyway,
listen. If we hadn't taken so much time with you being irate with Dan, we could have done that. Tomorrow, also on the show.
Noses on Wednesday, by the way.
Yes, that's right. We're going to go through all the different body parts. We've done ball sacks. We've done eyes. Tomorrow, I have a story about how wine, the alcohol wine, is in trouble. Fred has a story about wine's in trouble. Fred,
in what way?
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Even a little like people are moving away from it.
That's part of it. Yeah, wine's in trouble.
You
People
can't
are
drink
drinking
wine?
You can drink wine. It's just in trouble. The market share for wine.
Oh, well, don't tell us.
Going way down.
Don't tell us. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Also, Carla Collins joins us tomorrow. She's in Toronto doing some stand-up. Maybe we do the Gretzky Orr bit for her and see what she thinks.
We should.
Hey, Carla, we have this bit we did. We thought it was really good. All right. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to everybody on Facebook. Thanks for weighing in. And Dan Duran.
And this episode of the legendary Humble and Fred Show is brought to you by the Retirement Sherpa, the Chambers Plan, Boron One, Bodog, our newest sponsor, Ridley Funeral Home, and Kelsey's Original Roadhouse. For contests and comments, we read all of the emails, as you know. Humble and Fred at humbleandfredradio.com. Humble and Fred at humbleandfredradio.com. Tell us what you think. Subscribe to the podcast. Tell your friends about it. We would appreciate growing our audience if possible. From the Mike Oxbig Zoom Theater, I'm Dan Duran. And remember, keep your porta potty at least 3 feet away from Fred and don't do the Gretzky bit. And enjoy every goddamn day.
That was a good drum break.
Well, we're going to do something that's unprecedented. I've stopped the live stream, but that doesn't mean we can't pop back in and do a little extra show for people. We're still recording,
which is the real show. The live streams.
We could have done a make good tomorrow, but
here we are.
Our exuberance that I have.
Yeah, no, you were
doesn't bonus material. This is bonus material.
Well, this bonus material is for our very good friend, the Retirement Sherpa.
Tim Niblett is a portfolio manager. Raymond James, a member of the Canadian Investors Protection Fund. Remember, standing offer. If you have a portfolio, designed and nurtured by someone else, Tim or Jay will have a look at it, give you an assessment, second opinion, let you know if they think you're on the right track or not. At that point, you can decide. Come over to the Sherpa side or stay with who you're with, and they'll be honest with you. If it's doing well, they'll tell you. No strings attached, no obligation, no cost. It's just an offer from the Retirement Sherpa, retirementsherpa.ca.
And now we end this show that was already in progress of ending. And thank you very much. I hope everybody enjoyed it. This is like the cold. A lot of shows will have like a cold opening. We should maybe be the show that incorporates a cold ending. where we just come back and it just kind of fizzles out.
It's like those phone calls of people who can't really say goodbye on the phone.
Versus the way they say goodbye in the movies, where they don't even say goodbye. They just hang up. Nobody says goodbye.
Mid word, they stop.
Yeah, they go, "I'll check it out," and then some guy just closed his phone.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was good. Okay, you guys done? I'm done.
Loving yous, each and every one of yous.
And remember,
I got an outhouse to move.
Yep.
Why do you guys keep calling it an outhouse? Because he calls it. It's not an outhouse.
Johnny on the spot.
It's not a Johnny on. They're called porta potties.
Johnny on the spot.
Well, it all depends. Howard, I know they're called porta potties, but to me, it just seemed like a nice way of saying shitter. When again, in my mind,
technically it's a shitter. Yeah, where shit goes. Where shit goes to die. That's Humble and Fred, where shit goes to die.